What's up, you guys? All right, let's go through our overall markets for the S&P 500. Last week, we got a bit of a signal that there was a potential double top, and originally we already saw the lower high that formed. We were anticipating that there was going to be some further downside movement, but because of the G20 and whatever happened between Trump and China, they said that they're not going to be adding on any more tariffs for an additional 6 months, give or take. That's usually a sign of positivity. So it would seem that the markets ended up rallying back to the upside. So if you look at it, originally this was a pretty strong area. There was a potential previously at 2940. We went back up to 2960, and then this time we thought it was a double top. We broke above it, so now this actually voids the analysis of a double top. So what actually changed with the price action? So you could technically argue that this is kind of like a inverse head and shoulder. So this could have been a previous shoulder. This is another one. And this is the potential neckline which broke above. So let's look at it from a perspective of where are we? We are above our 200 EMAs. This is usually a sign that it has some sort of bullish action. We're also above the pivot, so that gives us an idea that the area that we should be capitalizing off of would actually be this area right here. So let's actually go back down. So because we're still going to be capitalizing off this area, it's going to be a buy to dip. So our pivots today are actually going to be at 29.44 after the reset, which is going to be about 40 minutes from now. Anticipating the pivot is probably going to be around the support level right here. It's actually going to be in confluence with the 29.55, give or take. But point being is that this is relatively bullish price action. If you look at it from this perspective as well, if you go to the 4-hour, this was a bull flag type of breakout. So look at it. Bullish price structures usually always break towards the upside. At this point, I would actually say it's probably fair to see 3,000 hit for the S&P 500 after a final run up to the upside. There will be some sort of more steep pullback. We're still waiting for a more deep correction. Haven't really got one except for this one right here, but from that run up that we've had all the way from 2300 up to this level right here, that's pretty massive, and I'm really looking to see if we could actually get at potential lower levels. But until we see some sort of aggressive sell side activity, our analysis is going to look something like this. So reason why I say this is because you have a EMA at this level, the 50, that's actually guarding it on the hourly. You're going to have a support resistance level right here that we actually broke out this double top. So as long as this holds, it's relatively bullish. And what you could do is if you enter in at this level, 2 15-minute candles close above this, this is going to continue higher. That's where you're going to buy in. You're going to take profit at 29.77. At 29.77, this potential level, if we break to the upside, you just move your stop loss to break even. And your stop loss placement, you're probably going to have it right at 29.45. So even if it actually comes out, the reason why you're doing this as well is because you have a support right here. You're going to have a pivot around this level. You're going to have a 50 EMA around this level as well. You also have a gap, and previous gaps, if you notice, once they fill, they try to usually hold above. So that's a potential for a buy. Not really seeing all that much sell side activity that much. The other thing I also told you guys about too is Nvidia. So Nvidia, actually, this one's a bit interesting because we broke out of the bear flag. And what do I mean by bear flag? So let me just draw you a more clear picture of what's going on. So this was the original bear flag. If you look at it from this perspective, the moment it breaks out, it's no longer validated. So if you look at it from this perspective as well, we broke above a level. We shot up pretty high. We got all the way from about 173 all the way from 165 for today, and we completely rejected it. So what I'm kind of anticipating too is the fact that we might have some sort of potential touch on this trend line. So there's two ads that you could actually have. You could add at 158, and you could add one at the level of 165 right now. So added a small position at 165. We said the level of stop would be 160. Distance between is going to be 1% of your count. So you take that and you factor in what your position sizing is, depending on your position for your capital size. So this one, I'm going to be targeting all the way to about 191 for now, but if it actually does get up to that level, I do anticipate it's going to trend a lot higher. So just watch out for Nvidia right now. This seems like something that's going to get propped up and it's going to be a buy. Let's look at Alibaba. So Alibaba, we also broke out the, actually this kind of looks like we did, but we stayed back in. So I wouldn't really say that this is exactly a level that we could be trading off of just yet. So let's redraw this a little bit. It would seem that we're still kind of trading within this range right here. So at this range, let's take out our fib. There's a potential that we could come back up to the level of 170. At 170, this could be a potential buy. So as price action changes, we're just going to adapt to it. This would probably be the next move because we're at the top of this channel. So just be careful for that. Let's talk about natural gas. Natural gas, previously we said that this was going to be a buy. I'm actually still saying that this is a buy because if you look at it, we still held above this level. So here's another thing I want to kind of just draw for you guys that's going to make it a lot more easy. I think this one right here would probably be a more So if you look at it at this perspective, we have a trend line right here. We broke out of it. We had a reversal, and if you're looking at it from this perspective, it would seem like this is probably the next move for tomorrow. Still anticipating that this is going to be a buy. I understand the fact that we are below our pivots. We are below the EMA. It's usually going to be wanting to capitalize off a short, but that's the 4 hour. If you look at the daily, look at how low we are. Look at where we are in the trend line. So we have a down channel right here. We also have a down trend line that we broke out of on the 4 hour with a confirmation of a reversal hammer. So this is a potential that we're going to go up a lot higher. If you're going to be buying up natural gas, what I would do is I'd probably enter in right around the break of this level, which is going to be your S2. If S2 breaks and holds above 2.27, your buy entry, your stop entry is going to be right below at 2.24. Distance between, you're gonna dial back the risk to 0.5% because of how potentially it might actually sell off. And this relatively bearish sell off is causing a little bit of negative sentiment. So because of that, you're going to dial back your risk. You don't want to put as much risk if you're playing natural gas that way. As long as you're always setting your risk management, you're going to be pretty good in terms of staying green as long as your other trades are winning. So this is going to be a buy for me because of what I'm seeing right here. Let's talk about another one. I have Baidu. So I'm eyeing Baidu. I'm looking to add a position into this right now. Okay, let's go and replace Boeing with Baidu. So Baidu, we're going to have this as a potential buy. Get it? Because we're buying Baidu. Okay, anyways. Main reason is because we ended up bouncing off this channel. I'm actually looking to wait for this to come back up to around $120, give or take, around $120. If it actually holds above, what it means is that there's going to be a potential breakout to the upside. And if we get that breakout, what's going to likely happen is you'll see something like this. And I'm anticipating a breakout a lot more as opposed to downside movement based on how we've been consolidating, based on where we are in the overall bigger picture of the trend. So I'm really just waiting. If 120 actually breaks, there's a potential buy, but you could even see that we're above our pivots. We're getting close to the 200 EMAs. And if you look at it, we're above the 200 EMAs on the daily, on the 30-minute chart. So if you look at it from this perspective, tomorrow for a potential entry, as long as we close above $118.80, I would say that's a pretty good buy signal for me. My stop loss would be all the way right at 116.47. Distance between is going to be 1% of your account size if you're doing it for a day trade. If you're doing it for a longer term slash swing trade, I wouldn't really bother with a stop. So just determine what it is that your goal is going to be for the trade and take that setup accordingly. So next, we're going to look at crude oil. Crude oil, we ended up having a potential movement to the upside, and we broke out this downtrend line. So look at this, relatively bullish pattern, but it's not really all that bullish where we're kind of sitting right here. But I'm still anticipating that there's going to be some sort of buy up, and this thing's probably going to come back up to around $62.85. So because we're still above our pivots right here, we're above the 200 EMA. If you look at the downtrend line, we're making higher highs and higher lows. So the bigger picture is that it seems like this is probably going to be an uptrend. So that's why we're going to be buying the dips on this one. If you do end up buying the dips, you could be making a potential entry right around either here. Let's go delete this line first. Around this level here, and you would target all the way up to $60 for a day trade. And if you're doing a swing trade, probably $63. Your stop loss is probably going to be at $58.23. Main reason is because it's the low of this, and it's also a little above the downtrend line, also near the 200 EMA. So main setups I'm really just going to be looking for on this upcoming week is going to be Baidu and Nvidia. I'm going to be very selective in terms of what I'm going to be trading because of how overextended we are in a lot of the stocks and based on the cycle that we're in. So I'm really just looking at things that have kind of been shot down and is starting to show signs that's starting to roll back on the upside. So we'll leave it at that.